Where are we at? That one. So, oh, so right, Shift H because we want to. I wonder if I've got screencast. I don't have the keys, but Shift H so I can just see the rig. Then click that little nub in there. Shift S brings up this cursor to selected. So now when I make a new bone, it starts there, and then we know we want it to go between that and I guess that's the wrist. Okay, we'll say that one there. That one there. So grab this, grab that end of that bone. G to move it around, and then Control to snap it to there. And then grab this bone and go W, subdivide. So now we got the two bones. And like if it was a person, whoops, put it in rest pose. If it was a person, you'd rig it like so. The way I've been describing these knees is the knees bend out to the front, right? Well, on a person, when you're rigging a person in T pose, you typically have, I'm trying to think, I'm sitting here with my arms stretched out. You have your arms stretched out in the T pose, obviously, and then you have the palms facing down, and that's a natural pose for the elbows to bend backwards. They bend, the elbows bend out towards the back, so the hands come forward if the palms are facing down in a natural T pose. But this is not a person, and it's not in the T pose. It's a robot and whatever. But we'll do the same roughly. We'll have the elbows pointing up the back, so the elbows will go in that direction. Oh, my stomach's fucking rumbling. Yeah. So the way that bone's pointing is the direction, because we're hinting here with the bend. We're hinting that we want this IK to go in that direction. And then, yeah, turn off deform on these bones. You don't need to do this, but if you were, you turn off deform so that when you parent something to it with the armature modifier, it will, like say you had a bunch of hoses on your robot model here, like these hoses, only deformed bones will work to deform the hose to make it bend, so that you don't want your IK bones, because they're like mechanisms, you don't want them to have deformment. Anyway, I'm getting off on a bit of a tangent here. That would do, I think. So let me check your fucking screenshot and see how you've done it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you've got it all the way to the 5th bone. So fuck it, you know what, I'll do it like that as well. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've grabbed this little nub here, and then we do, so that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And then this be roughly there. That'll do. That'll do. So hopefully this will work. Now, where's this hand IKL? Perfect. So take off the IK off there, put it onto this one. Am I doing this? Yeah, I've done that the wrong way around. So you grab the controller, and then you grab the forearm bone and do that, and set the chain to 2, 1, 2. And when I grab this, if it's in pose mode, nice. And this should not be parented to the chest, nice. This can be parented to the chest, but most importantly, this is forearm, okay, left, and this would be upper arm. And then, right, now comes the actual question that you had, which is, what about parenting these bones to this, so that when we that when we do this, these will move. So I just grab, like, really, you only need to grab this bone here. You want the very top of the chain, and you parent that to that bone. Keep offset, and then now it's completely following the, it's following this bone here, right? But obviously you want your forearm to match up, and we'll say, starting here, we'll say this is the, fuck, oh no, I could get out of edit mode, and, yeah, so we want, this is a ball socket here, so we want this, this and this to follow this bone. So your first thought would be, well, fuck it, I'll just parent this to that, to this IK bone. But because their pivot points are different, you know what? Let's do it as a learning experience together. I'm not entirely sure that what I'm saying is correct all the time, so I could be talking bollocks. So let's test out. If we parent this to this, my guess is going to be that when we move this, it will kind of fuck up. Yeah, look. So we move it, and this pivot point, like if this model was parented to these bones, as you can see from the bones themselves, let's hide these IK bones. The elbow is has become disjointed, which is obviously not at all what you want. So instead of parenting this to, because let's see, it's parented to the forearm IK bone. Instead of that, we'll parent it to the upper arm IK bone with the keep offset, and let's see, fuck, I mean these should still, whoops, okay, these are now parented to the forearm, okay, we want these ones parented to, I mean, this is how they should have been originally, but I fucked it up, I think. This one is parented to this one is parented to this one, in a chain, like how you had it before. I just broke it there, so yeah, if I grab this, that's perfect. And this one here is onto the upper arm IK bone. So again, but it doesn't bend still, right? But it does, the joint stays locked together, which is what you want. And then this one, you can either grab your hand controller, or whatever you want to call this, and then grab this one at the start of the forearm, and then you do go down here, add bone constraint, or Control Shift C, and then you go damped track. So now, sorry, I'll show it from the side. So now it bends at the elbow, and because the chain is still, these ones are parented to each other, they follow this one points, this one pointing down at this bone here. It's the damp track is saying always look at this. What I did on the feet, I did it slightly different, but it's basically exactly the same. I said always look at the end of this bone, which is, as you can see, it's exactly the same. The end of this bone is the start of this bone, and so here I've said look at the start of this bone. But if you use this slider, you can say, oh, there you go, good example. Always point at the end of this bone. And so I could have used this bone because they are the same thingy, because the IK always keeps them together. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I'll just go right back over it though. The chain, you know, this one is parented to the upper arm IK. So the things in the ball socket of the shoulder, this is parented to this, so it always follows its rotation. And then this, even though, like I said, you might think, oh, I'll parent it to this so it follows this is rotation. You don't really want that because the pivot points are at different places, and as you saw, causes it all to fuck up. You don't want that. So I kept the chain. What's that called? Shoulder L, bicep L. I mean, yeah, I've parented it to the upper arm IK, but really I could have comparing it to the bicep L, I guess, and it's the same thing. It will stay locked to this, but because it's got the damage track on it, it will always follow the end target. And hopefully, I've waffled now longer than I meant to, but hopefully that's helpful.